Welcome to Storytime with Mr. John. Now welcome Mr. John as he reads Best Friends Forever, A Puppy's Tale.
Well, hello, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, our fellow shining stars, boys and girls, big kids alike, and those who love great children's books. Welcome to an all-new edition of the Unity of El Cajon Storytime with Mr. John, presented by PR from the Heart. My name is Mr. John from PR from the Heart. I am so excited to spend some more quality time with all of you here in our neighborhood at Unity of El Cajon, here in El Cajon, California, in San Diego, California. Now, we are continuing to enjoy National Reading Month, one of my favorite times of the year, boys and girls. And today, we're going to be sharing another brand new, heartfelt children's book. And this one, boys and girls, it talks about several very sensitive things. Today, we're going to be talking about death and grief and loss, and that of a little furry friend, specifically. But at the same point in time, boys and girls, we're going to be talking about the messages of everlasting friendship and unconditional love. One of our favorite neighbors is an educator out in South Carolina. She's a wonderful children's author, and she has brought to life this beautiful brand new children's book, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Miriam Laundry Publishing. Portia Y. Clare has allowed us to be able to share her brand new children's book, Best Friends Forever, A Puppy's Tale. And boys and girls, this book was actually based on Portia's real-life story growing up. Some of the best children's books, boys and girls, are ones that are not only written from the heart, but ones that were inspired by a true story in some way, shape, or form. So Portia has not only allowed us to share her brand new children's book, but she has opened up her heart because she cares about all of you. And to remind all of you that love is something that continues to last. Even though if, let's say, you've had a furry friend for a couple of years and that furry friend has passed on and passed away, that the love and the memories that you share with that furry friend, whether it be a dog or whether it be a cat, that those memories will live forever. And we encourage all of you big kids who are tuning in as well to, if you feel that this message can benefit someone who is in the process of grieving right now, they're moving through the death, the grief, the loss of a loved one, or specifically a furry friend. If you feel that this message can benefit, help, support someone in need, we encourage you to be able to subscribe to Unity of El Cajon's YouTube channel and to share this very special trolley stop on your favorite social media platforms of your choosing. And we appreciate all of your support for us here at Unity of El Cajon and also at PR from the Heart. So again, boys and girls, Best Friends Forever, A Puppy's Tale, episode number 2 of the Unity of El Cajon Storytime with Mr. John, presented by PR from the Heart. And the inscription of the book, this book, by the way, boys and girls, by the way, Portia's late father inspired her to be able to write this book. So it says, "To my daddy and my mommy, from my heart to yours." Portia has a very special relationship with her mother. "Scoopy, do you like puppies?" "Yes, Daddy," Scoopy said, her eyes twinkling like stars. "Am I going to get a puppy of my very own? Would you like a boy or a girl?" "A girl," Scoopy exclaimed. "Please, may I have a girl?" And by the way, boys and girls, Scoopy was actually the nickname for Portia growing up. Isn't that such a beautiful name, Scoopy? Now, Scoopy sang and danced all day long. She had just turned 4, and she was getting a puppy for her birthday. She asked every question she could imagine about her new puppy. The only real answer Scoopy got was that it was a dachshund. Sometimes, boys and girls, dachshunds are referred to as sausage dogs. What's a dachshund? A dachshund. What kind of puppy is that? Her parents smiled and said, "It's a surprise. You'll see, Scoopy." After waiting for what felt like 100 nights, they were on their way to get her puppy. Scoopy brought a puppy bed, a blanket, and some puppy treats in the car. She already had the name picked out. Sandy. Her last name would be Clare, just like Scoopy's. Sandy Clare is a pretty name, Scoopy thought. "Daddy, are we there yet?" Scoopy asked impatiently. "Not yet. We're stopping to pick up some Kentucky Fried Chicken for dinner first." Boys and girls, I'm getting a little hungry, but Mr. John doesn't eat chicken, but that's okay if you do too. It's important that you nourish yourself if you're feeling hungry during this episode of Storytime with Mr. John, boys and girls. Kentucky Fried Chicken? Now? Scoopy thought, sighing. She was eager to see Sandy and didn't want to stop or eat. Quietly suffering in the backseat, she clutched Sandy's bed, trying hard to imagine how she looked. When they arrived at Sandy's home, an elderly gentleman brought her to the car. "Daddy, Mommy, look!" Scoopy squealed with exhilaration. "Sandy is long, like a hot dog. I never, ever imagined that." They thanked the gentleman, and he smiled at Sandy and Scoopy. "I think she likes you," he said. "Me too," Scoopy said, smiling back at him. She gave Sandy a puppy treat. Sandy grabbed it, and Scoopy playfully yanked her hand back. Sandy was the best thing that ever happened to Scoopy. She was the sister that Scoopy always wanted. They played dress-up, school, fetch, and hide-and-seek together. Sandy loved to lick Scoopy's face after she ate ice cream. Mommy didn't like this, but Scoopy didn't mind at all. Sandy was her beautiful little friend, her puppy. Then came the day when they moved to Washington, D.C., which is our nation's capital, by the way, boys and girls. Of course, Sandy moved with them. Moving felt like going on vacation to Disney World. Scoopy thought she and Sandy would sit together on the plane, but Sandy had to ride in the luggage compartment. Now, boys and girls, there's times where we can take our dogs or our cats and they can actually be with us on the airplane. And there are some times, if the dog is bigger or in lieu of certain requirements with airlines, sometimes our pets do have to go in the luggage compartment. So that can be a very sensitive thing, I'm sure, boys and girls. So know that this is something that, even though what I'm about to share may seem a little bit sensitive, it's something that had its way of working itself out over time. "Daddy, why can't Sandy sit with me on the airplane? It's only 3 hours." "I understand, Scoopy. We asked to keep Sandy with us, but the airline's policy does not permit that," he explained. "They assured us that Sandy would be safe during the flight." That policy changed. Sandy Clare forever. During the flight, Sandy became ill. When they brought her off the plane, she kept falling down. She looked tired and scared. "Sandy, what's wrong?" "Mommy, what's wrong with her?" Scoopy rushed to her daddy, who was holding Sandy. "I knew she should have stayed with me. I knew it. Daddy, what happened? What did they do to Sandy?" After she stopped sobbing, Scoopy's parents told her that Sandy needed medical care and a lot of love. They promised that they would take Sandy to a veterinarian as soon as possible. Scoopy nodded, but everything sounded so confusing and so unfair. "I'm sorry, Sandy," she sniffled. "I do love you. I wanted you to sit with me." The veterinarian told them that Sandy had epilepsy. Now, boys and girls, do you know what epilepsy is? That's when you can have a seizure disorder where your brain is doing some very interesting things, and it can be a very challenging experience if you have epilepsy or even just one seizure. In fact, boys and girls, I actually had a seizure myself when I was in high school, and it took me some time to get better. But the important thing is that Mr. John is here and he's healthier and stronger than ever before. Epilepsy makes Sandy have seizures or fits, the veterinarian explained. Her body will move in ways that she cannot control. Scoopy hugged Sandy tightly. Riding in the luggage compartment triggered her first seizure, the veterinarian continued. Scoopy whispered, "Will the epilepsy ever go away?" The veterinarian shook his head. "I'm sorry. I wish there was a cure, but Sandy will have seizures for the rest of her life. Sandy got better, and she was soon back to being the best friend that Scoopy had always known. They read and sang, played, ate, and napped together. They did everything together. Sometimes Sandy would have seizures, but they were few and far between. One summer, Scoopy went to visit her family in South Carolina without Sandy. Daddy and Mommy made an appointment for Sandy to visit the veterinarian so she could not travel. But soon, Scoopy really missed her puppy. To surprise her, Scoopy's parents asked her Uncle Bobby to bring Sandy to Grandmommy's home. Now, down in South Carolina, boys and girls, they actually refer to grandmothers as grandmommies. So, I refer to my grandmother as grandma, or being part Polish, I would actually refer to my grandmother, one of my grandmothers, as babcia. But babcia, grandma, grandmommy, they all hold special places in our hearts. Seeing her felt like Christmas morning. Scoopy gave Sandy a big hug and kiss, and Sandy licked her face, even without the ice cream. They played and sang and danced and swam and ate and explored everywhere together. A few weeks later, Grandmommy's home was filled with family. Daddy and Mommy had come for vacation, and everyone was having a wonderful time together. Then Sandy began to have a seizure. "Look at her," Scoopy's cousins yelled. "What's wrong with her?" They jumped and tried to get out of her way. Scoopy couldn't believe that they were so insensitive. They acted like Sandy had a contagious disease or something. "Leave her alone. She won't bother you. She's sick, can't you see?" Scoopy was worried about her best friend, her sister. Throughout the night, Sandy continued to have fits. "Daddy, is Sandy going to be all right this time?" Daddy sat with her and wiped tears from her face. "Scoopy, do you remember what the veterinarian said about Sandy's seizures?" "Yes, Daddy, but I want Sandy to get better this time too, just like she always does after having a seizure." "I know, Scoopy, but the veterinarian said that when Sandy continued to have seizures one after the other, she would not get better." Daddy hugged and rocked her gently as she sobbed. Scoopy cried herself to sleep. The next morning, she asked Daddy to come to the kitchen with her to see Sandy. She was near the kitchen table. Daddy knelt beside Scoopy and held her in his arms. "Scoopy, Sandy is dead," he sighed with a tear in his eye. Scoopy knew Sandy had died because she didn't see Sandy's tummy moving up and down like she did when she was asleep. Scoopy's legs wobbled like jello, and she collapsed in her daddy's arms. They sat quietly together beside Sandy. Then Scoopy whispered tearfully, "I love you, Sandy." The family buried Sandy beside the barn in Grandmommy's backyard. "Goodbye, Sandy. I love you." Scoopy missed Sandy for many years. Whenever she visited Grandmommy's home, she always went to Sandy's gravesite to talk with her. During her next visit, Scoopy realized that she needed to talk with Sandy about something important. "Sandy, I will always love you, and no puppy in the entire world will ever take your place. But I really miss having a playmate like you every day," Scoopy sighed. "So I wanted to tell you that I would like to get another puppy for my 10th birthday. I believe that I am ready now." This is a beautiful part of the book, boys and girls. It's very powerful. You can feel the love that Scoopy has for Sandy and how she wants to really get Sandy's permission, more or less, before having another new furry friend. Now, Scoopy felt much better after talking with Sandy. In her heart, she knew that Sandy understood. The next day, Scoopy asked, "Daddy, may we get another puppy, please?" "Yes, Scoopy. Would you like a boy or a girl?" "A boy, please," she decided. Scoopy chose a miniature schnauzer. That's a fun word, isn't it, boys and girls? Schnauzer. It's also a beautiful dog as well, too. He was her beautiful new little friend, her puppy. Daddy and Mommy helped name him Omar Clare II. He was named after Mommy's puppy, Omar the First. He was so cute. He looked just like a stuffed animal. So schnauzers, boys and girls, are different than dachshunds. But so much love found in both of them. Omar loved to lick ice cream from Scoopy's face just like Sandy. He loved to play fetch and chase leaves that blew in the wind. During his first summer, Scoopy took Omar to visit Sandy's gravesite. Sandy, this is Omar, our new brother. He likes to play games with me just like you did. He's a sweet boy, she said lovingly. It felt like a family reunion. This is one of my favorite parts of the book, Boys and Girls, because it's just so heartwarming. It really is. After their visit, Scoopy and Omar spent the rest of the day at Grandmommy's home playing and eating and exploring everywhere together. It was different, yet it was exactly the same. It was truly a beautiful friendship. And boys and girls, when I think of this story, I think of several of the dogs that I had growing up as a little boy. My first dog's name was named Lady, and there were two dogs that I was very close with specifically. One was named Scotty, and one was named Hunter. And I'd like to share a little special story with you, if I may, boys and girls, because I remember when Hunter was very sick. This was about 10 years ago or so, may have been a little under that. And it felt like Hunter was communicating with me, even though I no longer lived with my family where Hunter was living. It felt like Hunter was wanting me to be able to be with her before she passed away. And I remember I actually feel like she was speaking to me the day where she actually did pass away. And I remember finding out where Hunter's veterinarian was located, and I managed to get there literally at the time of her appointment when she was going to be put down, when she was going to be passing away because she was very sick. And I remember being in the same room as Hunter and my father when she passed away, and it was one of the saddest experiences of my life, boys and girls, but it was also one of the happiest because we share a very special bond with our furry friends. They help to bring more love into our hearts. They remind us of the love that we have within our hearts as well too. They are our playmates, our best friends. And I know I still communicate with Hunter, and I still communicate with Scotty, even though they're on the other side in heaven. And one of the things that I have wanted to have for a long time is a new dog. Almost 10 years, actually, boys and girls. And I've wanted a part Shih Tzu Maltese, a little smaller dog that can kind of fit in the palm of my hand almost. And the great news, boys and girls, is that Mr. John is going to be getting a new dog very soon. But it's important that we remind you as we conclude this episode of Storytime with Mr. John that if you're choosing to get a new dog right now, you're not trying to replace that love. You're not trying to take that dog, or cat is not trying to take the place of the one that you had before. The memories will always last a lifetime. Those will never die. Those will never go away. And if anything, you are opening up your heart to receive more love. So it truly is a story of everlasting friendship, of unconditional love. And it's important that you also know, boys and girls, is that if you're feeling sad, whether if you've lost a furry friend, a dog or a cat, or if you've lost your grandma, your grandpa, if you've lost a teacher, a next door neighbor, a brother or sister, mom or dad, over these past 2 years, we've all moved through a lot of grief and loss as the result of COVID and the pandemic. But when we take the time to move through those feelings and emotions, we become stronger in the process. And we realize that everyone plays such an important role in our lives, and that they're always still with us. One of my favorite inspirations growing up, boys and girls, was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Rogers. Now, if you remember Daniel Tiger, many of you, I'm sure, know who Daniel Tiger is, correct? Well, I always like to say that Mr. Rogers is Daniel Tiger's grandfather in many ways. And he always encouraged all of us to remember those who helped love us into being. So if there is a furry friend of yours or your grandma, your grandpa, they're no longer with us here in the physical. They're no longer here with us on earth. And if they're in heaven, they're still smiling down from above on you, knowing that they made such a positive difference, a wonderful impact on your life. This has been a very emotional, but yet a very beautiful story time with Mr. John, boys and girls. Raise your hand if you're feeling a little emotional, but you're feeling good. If you're glad that we spent some quality time together. I like to say, we see many hands on screen from all of you and from all of us here at Unity of El Cajon. This has been such a wonderful trolley stop, boys and girls. One of the things that I really love and will be sharing in forthcoming editions of the Story Time with Mr. John, it's important that we share sensitive subjects, heartfelt messages, things that we need to talk about, because in life, everything is always not rainbows and gumdrops. And it's important that you know that there are trusted adults that are in your life that are here to help you, to guide you, to support you if you're moving through anything challenging in any way, shape, or form, like death and grief and loss. So as we hear the trolley, boys and girls, we like to say that is time for us to go. We encourage all the big kids that are tuning in, if you want to be able to purchase your copy of Best Friends Forever, A Puppy's Tale, we've included Portia's official website, which is portiayclare.com, along with the Amazon link to her book and her social media platforms in the description below, so that you can continue this wonderful conversation with your little ones, as well. This is a wonderful book that you can read several times over in the process. If this message of Best Friends Forever, A Puppy's Tale has helped you, if it's inspired you, if it's brought healing into your heart, we encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunities to do so, to subscribe to Unity of El Cajon's official YouTube channel and to share this very special trolley stop that has been episode number 2 of the Story Time with Mr. John, presented by PR from the Heart. But boys and girls, it's not going to be sad forever. In fact, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I know that Hunter and Scotty are telling me, Mr. John, it's almost time for you to get your brand new puppy. Put a smile on your face, put a smile on your heart, because there are more magical trolley stops to come. Soon we'll be able to spend episode number 3 together, more quality time here in our neighborhood at Unity of El Cajon. So we want to thank all of you for your support of Unity of El Cajon, for PR from the Heart for supporting us as well too. We want to thank you for your support of children's authors and illustrators all across the country and all around the world, such as Portia and her illustrator, by the way, Lisa Alderson, who did such a wonderful job with these illustrations, don't you think? For your support of all children's authors and illustrators who are doing much needed work for you, our little ones, and also for parents and for families, for educators, for those who love great children's books. For your support of local libraries and independent and children's bookstores, truly some of the pillars, the fabric of our community. And above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk you home, to help open up your hearts, and to walk home the children of the world. So for everyone here at Unity of El Cajon, and for everyone at PR from the Heart, this is Mr. John. We want to thank you again for joining us here in our neighborhood. We look forward to seeing you very soon, but we hope that you enjoy the rest of your National Reading Month. As the start of spring, it's very much in the air, which is another good thing, don't you think? Thank you for spending some quality time with us today, and thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. We'll talk to you soon, boys and girls. Goodbye for now.